Everybody, Jim Chester here. I am at the world-renowned Gonstead Clinic here in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, and this place is legendary. And I don't know if you guys have ever been here or toured this place, but they're doing some amazing things here, and this is the weekend of the Gonstead Extravaganza. And last night I had the opportunity of meeting Dr. Tracy. The guy's got an amazing story. I'm just going to let him tell you a little bit about the Gonstead technique and what it means for him to be a Gonstead practitioner.
Well, thanks for having me. You know, as I was going to school, and I had visited with the chiropractor that got me into chiropractic school, and he said, you know, if you want to learn how to adjust, you're going to have to go to the Gonstead Clinic, because he said they're going to teach you how to adjust in school, but you're going to really learn how to adjust if you go to the Gonstead Clinic. So I came to the Gonstead Clinic. I was fortunate enough to be a student when Dr. Gonstead was still alive, so I got to be adjusted personally by Dr. Gonstead, which was really an experience in and of itself. And when I graduated, I was directed to my mentor, Dr. Gary Pfaff, by his good friend, Dr. John Thatcher, who both of those men were very, very closely connected with Dr. Gonstead. And as I learned, and I was in practice with Dr. Pfaff for 3 years before I went on my own, and I'd continued to attend seminars here at the clinic. And when I'd come, the thing that I wanted to do the most is I felt that I had this very good talent of being able to teach. So I spent most of my time when I come to the seminars was teaching students how to adjust. I'd come up to the technique portion of the seminar. I'd spend all my time teaching students how to give an adjustment exactly like Dr. Gonstead had taught me. And then as I did it, I started to say, you know what? I noticed that there were certain students that really caught on to what was going on here and were catching on how to make the adjustment the way it was designed. So I started asking students. I'd find 2, 3, 4 students or a half a dozen students that I felt were really grasping the concept. And I'd ask them if they would like to go to supper that evening. And so I got them to do that, and they'd come with me, and I made this claim to them. I said, what we're going to do is we're going to find out why you got in chiropractic, and I'm going to tell you how I got into chiropractic. And as we did that, and at the end I told them, I said, now here's the only catch. You have to pay it forward like this. So when you get to my situation, you have to do the same thing. Well, it kept getting bigger and bigger, and then I had a younger brother, went to chiropractic school, and so he was already indoctrinated into Gonstead chiropractic, so he started from the very beginning in school, and I would start going to the schools, and I'd do the same thing at the schools at Northwestern, where he and I both went to school. And then when he came, then now we'd have as many as a dozen students that we would take out. And it's been a very, very heartwarming situation knowing that these students are actually getting it and being able to perpetuate, so we have more doctors doing quality Gonstead work. So, and I've also, the Gonstead Foundation that owns the clinic here now, and I'm a monthly contributor to that financially to help make sure that the clinic continues to be able to be in existence.
So it sounds like you've given not only your talent, but you've given your time, and now you give your treasure. So that's pretty amazing to see that you're giving full facet of what you have capabilities of providing. Now let's talk about this weekend specifically in the Gonstead Extravaganza. What is it like to be here?
Well, you know, it's really exciting to see this many students. You know, of all the years that I've attended all the seminars over the years, that this is one of the largest turnouts of students that we have seen to date. And the students are just so hungry to learn how to adjust, because you get the understanding and the feeling which you thought was already happening, and that is that most of the students are not getting to be able to adjust or learn how to adjust in school, so they have to go outside the school to learn how to adjust. And so they've heard that this is one place where they actually get hands-on. They're going to learn how to do it, and they're going to get some expertise from field doctors that know how to do it. And so it's worked out really, really good. It's an amazing weekend. Plus, we get to see some of we have several doctors here this weekend that are personally mentored by Dr. Gonstead. You know, it's really, really cool. It's a very emotional, heartwarming experience to see this many students and this many doctors all on the same page.
What's it like to see your friends?
Well, you know, I'm a pretty emotional kind of guy anyway, but when I see my chiropractic friends that are in the Gonstead work, it's a hug and boy, glad to see you. And we really, really enjoy each other's time. And it's kind of like, well, do we have to leave now?
Well, you know, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you too for inviting me into the Gonstead family as well.
Oh, you know, I think we're very fortunate to have you, and I thank you for taking time to be able to show the world that this chiropractic stuff is pretty big and it's pretty important for humanity.
Yeah, I think that the more that we can all come together and talk about the specificity of the adjustment and talk about subluxation-based chiropractic and talk about these things like innate intelligence, which they might not be getting in school too much anymore.
Oh, no, they don't. And we have one of the instructors from one of the schools is here this weekend, and he's been teaching. He said this month he celebrates his 40th year of teaching. And he said, I have to walk on eggshells when I talk to them about innate intelligence because administration doesn't want them to hear it. And I think that's so amazing because even when I went to school 40 years ago, that I didn't learn that. I had to read it in a book because it wasn't taught to us. We didn't have at Northwestern, we didn't have a specific philosophy class that taught us that this is what D.D. Palmer taught us about.
So why are the 33 principles so valuable to the future chiropractic?
They're so vital because it explains two very important things. Number one, how we're wired as human beings, and number two, how we're all wired together, and that things only work one way that makes things naturally right. And if we step out of that realm, that's what causes sickness, lack of health, lack of wellness.
So why is subluxation-based chiropractic so important for the future of humanity?
Well, according to some of my colleagues that have been doing a lot of research and doing connection with PhDs in the medical realm and stuff, and they tell us it has to do with adaptability. They're finding out that correcting a subluxation in the spine increases your ability to adapt to the daily stresses of life. And that's what all it amounts to. In other words, there's a quality of life that increases when you're under chiropractic care for the correction of subluxation.
See, and there you guys have it. You guys hear it from somebody that's been in the industry for 40 years. You know, he's understands what it means for teaching the young to become leaders and then teaching the future leaders to teach the young again. And not only that, but keeping the vernacular aspect intact when it comes to what chiropractic stands for, what the history of chiropractic stands for. And now what we get a chance to do is, last question for you, is what does the chiropractic profession look like in 5 years to you?
Well, I think in 5 years from now, I think we're already starting to see a shift where people are looking for chiropractic care. They may not know that it's chiropractic that they're looking for, but they're understanding that we can no longer continue to treat sickness and disease. We have to learn how to be healthy. And there's a big difference between waiting till you get sick and trying to stay healthy so you don't get sick. And chiropractic is the leader in that realm. And once they find that out, the shift is going to happen, and it's going to be overwhelming because people are going to realize that the way they thought they were taking care of their health was actually taking care of their sickness.
Yeah, and from that, I also believe that you guys have probably heard me say this time and time again, but you should have two doctors in your life, one to keep you healthy and one to save you from dying. And I think that, the more that we integrate chiropractic as a system that keeps people healthy long term is very important, because I know people, just because I grew up in Iowa, people will sell the farm to keep somebody from dying and keep them healthy. Why don't we sell the farm early on to keep us healthy long term?
Yeah. Well, it's like this. Doctors only do what they're taught. And so when they're taught a certain level of way of how to sustain life, or as I figured out, they teach you how to sustain your current level of being. And so if you're already sick, the traditional system that we have in the United States teaches people how to sustain their current state of well-being. It doesn't teach them how to go above and beyond that, to have a greater state of well-being, a greater level of health. And chiropractic has always shown that that's the greatest benefit that chiropractic has to offer.
Well, Dr. Tracy, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story
welcome.
today. And I always like to tell everybody out there, you're just one story away. Keep telling the story and keep hustling. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.